There is no way the Milwaukee Brewers just did this, as they just came back for a second game in a row from down to win this one in extras and extend their game winning streak to 14 games with a little help from the mind of Pat Murphy and a few, kind of, let's just say it, magical errors by this Cincinnati Reds team. We're going to be breaking this game down, ladies and gentlemen, going over a few moves here that the Brewers have made at the end of this video before we head into the final game of this series against the Cincinnati Reds. Before we do jump into what we have here for you guys tonight, though, be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already. We know that just over 98% of you guys watching right now have not done so and are not subscribed to the channel. And if you're looking for a spot for all of your Milwaukee Brewers news, post games just like this, news videos, everything daily on this channel, you're in the right spot. Be sure to hit the sub button if you're looking for all of that Brewers news. But what a game, ladies and gentlemen. I was on the edge of my seat until just moments ago when this game ended, literally about, not even 5 minutes ago, and I will say my nerves were gone throughout this game. And going in, of course, at a 6-5 game and the win in the 11th inning, we saw a bit of a different looking team here tonight. And obviously, not bad, because it's a great win, it's a very good win, and once again, as I'll kind of throw in here a little bit later in this video, this is a Milwaukee Brewers win. And the wins that we've seen over this past 14 games are something that a lot of teams will not be able to see from themselves throughout this season. But, of course, as we kind of go through this game, take a look at this Milwaukee Brewers game. Trevor McGill with the win here on this one, coming in the 9th, and then also coming in, or the 10th, excuse me, and then seeing Mears close this one out for his first career MLB save, so congratulations on that. But this game really came down to the final, the final kind of innings. And the top of the 9th, the Brewers tied it up on an error, which, of course, was some sort of devil magic that the Milwaukee Brewers have had over this 14-game series when it comes to the unluck, the pressure that they're putting on these teams, and that was very evident tonight against the Cincinnati Reds team, who ultimately came out of this game with 3 errors, and really, kind of set this Milwaukee Brewers team up for their win and continuing on to this, because tonight, let's be honest, was not the greatest hitting night for this Brewers team, but we still saw a lot of positivity from nearly everybody in this lineup, no matter where it was. And I'll jump into that as well here in a moment in the box score. But one thing I wanted to pull up as well is continuing a pretty big trend that we've seen from this team lately. It was the left on base. And 11 left on base normally wouldn't be bad. And even though you did get 6 runs in this game, which, I feel like that's kind of low for this Brewers team over this winning streak, in games like this where you're winning by 1 run, you're going to the 11th, you want to score a few more of these runs. And, there's no way I can complain about this, but just things like this are when we're taking a look at how this team's offense compared to their defense, compared to how the team's structure is built on pressure, all kind of puts that into a different mindset for whoever they're playing. And 11 left on base here on this game, ultimately, could have been the difference maker, but we obviously saw this team take it in their own hands. And Andruw Monesterio being that guy, coming in the 11th and getting an absolute moonshot, no doubt home run, and getting a major win here. And I want to pull up once again the box score as usual, going over a few players here that, definitely didn't see what we wanted to see. Christian Yelich, Andrew Vaughn, Sal Frelick, even though you're looking at that, as well as Brendan Lockridge, you're looking at those names, you're seeing these names day in, day out, put absolute numbers up on the board, and, they're not going to have a great game every single game, even though that we've been very lucky to see these players here throughout the season thus far be absolute stellar players. In a game like this where you still get a win, even though, your offense is not fully clicking on that side of things, that is absolutely fine. Games like that are going to happen. That one's now behind you. It is now set for another 50 games of very hot baseball from these players. But Andruw Monesterio, of course, really the highlight of this game, the player of the game for this team, which ultimately got them this win here, as well as a couple of, kind of errors, I guess we could say. And, of course, that is the statistical term, but definitely some major errors from the Cincinnati Reds team. But going throughout this roster, of course, you're getting guys like Bryce Turang, Caleb Durbin, Andruw Monesterio, of course, who is a fan favorite, a team favorite. Everybody loves him. The commentators were saying, hey, this team's probably more happy for him than they are for this team, and I think that's just the way this team is, once again, structured, the way they're built, the way they enjoy playing the game right now, not caring about the win streak, not caring about any of that. They want to see their peers, their friends, their buddies have success, and that was really a big story for Andruw Monesterio here tonight, and something that, was just awesome to see throughout this game. And as well, I want to kind of touch on the pitching, but side of pitching as well, very good game from these pitchers here tonight, and especially coming down throughout the entirety of this game, and really going down throughout the list I mean, you're seeing Quinn Priester come in, have this game, 6 hits, 2 earned runs. Really not a bad game whatsoever. You're coming down there to Trevor McGill, gave up that 1 run. Ultimately, not a big deal whatsoever, but you're seeing the list of relievers that are coming into these games, game in, game out, having the role for 1 inning, and then getting ready to go and keep rolling for the remainder of this. And of course, we did see Mears come in here, pitch a full inning. I just took this before the game was over. You knew we were going to get a big win out of that. But ultimately, you're looking at this and seeing quite a bit of positivity from this team, especially when you're up here at 13 strikeouts, I believe it is. My math may be wrong there very quickly, but this is one thing I want to pull up here now and kind of go over what we're going to see in these next upcoming moves. So first of all, before we kind of jump into that, I want to know your opinion on this game. How were you feeling throughout this as we were heading into the top of the 9 and ultimately coming into tie the game, started to get a lead, tie it again, ultimately get a lead, and then we see a very, very tight bottom of the 11th there as well, which the Reds easily could have taken this one, bearing any other errors. But let me know what you think about that game. But when we do jump into it as well, there's a few moves that have been made. We saw here Garrett Anderson recalled from Nashville from AAA after Jacob Misiorowski was sent down when Jacob Misiorowski came back, but now brought back up as DL Hall is going on the IL. This is another big important thing as well, because as we know, we see the IL right now getting pretty full of players and especially pitchers. But a lot of this is right now where the Brewers stand. We're in a very good spot regardless of what happens over the remainder of the season. But the fact that we're getting DL Hall, Jacob Misiorowski, Logan Henderson, all these guys on the IL here so far throughout the remainder of this season, this is just a very good opportunity to rest some arms up before the postseason. And of course, DL Hall with the oblique, that's something you want to be careful with, but this team knows that whether or not it was going to be a 15-day, whether or not he would have been out as long as, it's stating here, it is just another big opportunity to give him some rest before we get to it, because we know, and as I mentioned, kind of going back to that last screenshot of the relievers here in this game and in last game, we're getting a lot of people rolling, and a lot of people in these last few games, you got to preserve some arms, and I think that's why we're seeing a lot of this. Every inning, we're getting a new pitcher. 1 inning maximum outside of the starter, and this is a very kind of interesting thing to take a look at here and see where things go over the next couple weeks. But we do have another move being made here as well, and this one is from Spencer Baroa, recalled from AAA. And the 26-year-old acquired from the Dodgers in July was called up here this morning after Blake Perkins and Isaac Collins were on the bereavement and paternity list respectively. So these guys can return whenever, and of course this is just something that, is a family, personal type of life thing. This is not something to be on the IL. This is not something like this. So these guys obviously would be a big part of tonight's game, but being placed on those respective lists, obviously got to respect their privacy. Hope everything is going well. Of course, paternity list, fantastic. Bereavement, not so much. So hopefully everything is going good there, and hopefully we see them back as soon as possible when everything is going good for them. But we have a lot of exciting stuff coming, ladies and gentlemen. Some more games finally closing out this series tomorrow against the Reds, and then we head to a very important series against the Cubs, and I'm going to have you guys updated with everything going through that way. But that's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.